Hello and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about how to apply for a tourist visa, especially if you're a person who comes from Kenya like me, other African countries, or even other parts of the world where when you apply for certain visas it's a bit problematic. In this video I'm going to tell you all the important documents that you need for you to prepare yourself for the visa application. This is going to be a two-part video. In this one I'm going to talk specifically about the tourist visa, and the second video will be about how to prepare yourself for a job abroad. So currently in Kenya, even the president is telling people like, oh, there's jobs abroad, maybe all of you should go there and get those jobs. So yeah, that video will be more about detailing all the different documents that you need to prepare yourself possibly for getting a job, either whether it's a skilled labor job or a casual labor job. But yeah, for this one it's strictly about the tourist visa. A bit of a background: I'm currently in the UK, but the first time I applied for the UK visa it was rejected, and then I applied it for the second time and it was approved. I'm going to be talking about all the documents that I presented for the visa application and it got approved. Well, a few disclaimers, because this is the internet. I need to make a few disclaimers. Number one, I don't help people with visa applications, so please take this video as it is. This is more of an information video, consider it entertainment. So I am not a visa lawyer, I'm not a lawyer of any kind, therefore I do not provide any sort of service in regards to visas or relocating or anything like that. So yeah, you can ask questions. Maybe if I have the answer I will try and answer, but I don't know anything about specific jobs you can get or specific visa documents that you need and all sorts of questions that people can ask. I'm also not asking for any money, neither today or even in future. I don't think I'll be asking for any money in regards to helping people with doing visas. So yeah, in case something pops up somewhere like, oh, I'm helping people with visas, believe me, it's a scam. I have zero plans of ever doing that. Yeah, now that we've done with the disclaimers, let's get started. Now I've divided this video into 5 parts. Let me just quickly check my notes so that I can remember well. And the first part is your identity, so about yourself. The second part is work, and then the third part is finance, and then the fourth part is supporting documents, and finally the fifth part is your sponsor. So let's start with the first part, your identity. This is basically about you and your legal documents in the country you reside in. So if you're in Kenya like me, the first document you'll need is your national ID, assuming you're an adult over 18. For people below the age of 18, most likely the adult is going to take care of all their documents, so things like the birth certificate, their passport and whatnot. So let's focus on the adults. You're going for like a tourist vacation in whatever country. This is pretty much the entirety of like Europe, USA, Canada, and or any other country where you'll need to apply the visa. I've checked online several times and I've seen the procedure is technically the same, with only very few variations. Like some countries will ask you for your bank statement showing that you must have maybe minimum amount of money. For example, if I wanted to go to Panama, the minimum amount I need in my bank account is $500. If I want to go to Morocco, that is applying from Kenya. I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be like you need to have at least $2,000 in your account to show that you can be able to finance the travel and all that. So different countries again might have different things, but again, that is something I think you'll find out when you go to specific websites to apply for the visa. So again, there's like 193 countries, so I can't speak of each and every specific country. So back to point number one, the first document you will need is your national ID. This is the legal document required in Kenya to identify yourself as an adult, basically, for government services, for any service that you might need, whether you want to register for a bank or whatever. You need your national ID, and you'll need this document, the original and the photocopy. So be sure to have that. Then the second thing is the passport. You must have the passport, and in Kenya currently you must have the new passport, which is the East Africa Community Passport. So this is a unified passport for Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania. Wait, I've said Tanzania. Who else is in the East Africa Community? Somalia is joining in, the Democratic Republic of Congo is joining in, and I think South Sudan also. But yeah, you need your passport that shows EAC, because if you're using the previous blue passport that was specific to Kenya, that document is either it has become redundant, or at some point in the next 1 year is going to become useless. So you need to apply for the new passport. So once you get your passport, the third document which you will need is your birth certificate. This is an important document to have because, again, it just verifies the first two documents, your national ID and your passport, because it shows you were born in Kenya. So those are the three documents that you will need when it comes to your identity. And all these documents have the originals, have the photocopies. Because again, if you're going to be doing the second part of this video, watching the second part, which is about applying for a job, these are also very important to have. So yeah, keep that at the back of your mind. Two other documents that you might need when it comes to your personal documents, that will be police good conduct. So in Kenya, this is the certificate of good conduct that shows you have 0 offenses or any pending court cases or anything like that. So basically it just proves you've never been, you're not a convicted felon, or you haven't committed any crimes. This is a good document that helps with your tourist visa. It's not compulsory, because for my case, when I was applying for my visa, I didn't have that. So, but again, you know, it's helpful to just boost your application. Another document you can also add is your KRA PIN. How do I refer to this? KRA, that is the Kenya Revenue Authority. PIN, what is PIN in full? Personal identification number. So this is from the government tax collection system, which shows that you pay tax in the country. I don't know, different countries I'm sure will have a different name for it, but in Kenya it's called KRA PIN. So attach this document, especially if you don't have any pending like taxes that you need to pay. So it will show your PIN name, it will also show your address, and it will show your full names, which is going to match with all the other information that you've given. And also it will show you don't have any pending taxes, so they won't think like, you know, you're trying to run away from paying taxes in your country. So again, yeah, those two documents, be sure to include them if you can get them, because most likely if you're a student, no, not as I think even students have a KRA PIN, so I think everybody should has a KRA PIN. So yeah, attach that, and the police good conduct if you can get that. Yeah, I really don't like the light in this office. I think I need to buy proper lights. So yeah, bear with me if it's a bit too dark. Yeah, I'm going to be fixing this very soon. Moving on to number 2, work. So either you work or you're a student. I don't think there's anything else you can be if you want to be a tourist in a different country. You're either a student or you work. Unless you're like from a very rich family, then it's fine, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, when it comes to work, the first thing you need is the work contract. So this is the contract which, let's say you work for whatever company you work for, there's that document that they gave you to show that you work with them. You need that, whether it's temporary, whether it's permanent. You need that document to prove that you work with that company. The second document that you'll need, which is not compulsory, but I'd advise you to get, is a work letter from, let's say, your boss or someone in the company, and that letter should show a letterhead if possible. So again, this is just something extra to verify that you work with that company, because believe me, these visa guys, or when you're applying for the visa, do not assume any document, because these guys want you to be extremely open and transparent, because that openness and transparency is what is going to make them believe that you're a genuine tourist who will travel to their country and then go back to your country. Because my first visa application was rejected because they said I didn't supply enough documents to prove that I will be going back to my country. So yeah, trust me, it's just a bit, I don't even know what to describe it. It's a bit sort of demeaning, to be honest. Like, you know, it's crazy when you get that rejection. You're like, I just wanted to visit, spend money, and go back home. It's not like I want to move there, right? So yeah, be careful about that. If possible, get a document from your boss or your HR department, whatever. And in that document, they should write specifically that, yes, you're an employee of that company and you'll be traveling to country XYZ. You'll be traveling for these dates, and they believe you'll be also going back not believe actually, and you will be going back to your original country because you work there, so you need to report back to work. So you're using your vacation days or time off or whatever they've given you to be able to travel. So this is a very important document. If you can get it, please get it. It's going to make the whole visa application seem genuine. Now, if you're a student, again, same thing. You need to show a letter of admission, to prove that you are from the school that you say that you are from. So again, that can be the letter that you're given when you're admitted to the school. And also, if possible, get another letter from maybe your teacher or head of department or someone with authority in that school. This person should also write the same, like you're a student, your duration for studying is from this period to this period. You're still doing your course, and after you travel to whatever country you'll have to go back home and continue with your studies. Again, this is a document that just verifies that you are who you are and you plan to go back to your country. Again, I keep saying this because it's very important, because that is, I think, the major reason why a lot of visas are rejected, is because you don't give enough documents to prove that you're going to go back to your country. So it's important. Now, if you are self-employed, which was my case, I was self-employed in Kenya. I had my own company. What I did is I submitted my company certificate of registration. So again, this is an official document by the government, which is given to the directors of the company. And this document, actually there's two. The first one is the company certificate. So that shows like this is a registered company in Kenya. Again, different countries might have different things, but I don't think they'd be varying too much. So that will be the first document. The second document will be again a company document that is showing all the directors that are in that company. For my case, again, I was the only director, so it showed like the shares that you own in that company. Therefore, it also proves that you're a director in that company. So those are two legal documents which you get from the government. And then the third, which you can do if you want, especially if you have other directors, it will be helpful, will be a director's letter. And that letter should have a letterhead of the company. It should have all the different information like contacts. It should have like the address, signed by another director, things like that. The other directors can also do the same. They can also write that you are part of the company and you're going on a tour, vacation, whatever it is, and then you'll be back to your country. So again, this is another document that just proves you are who you are. I keep saying this, I think, because that is what boots out, I think, a lot of visa applications, because I spent even a lot of time just going through Reddit and reading comments of what people are saying about visa status, visa updates. And so many of them, especially from Africa, I think it's a theme, people from Africa, a lot of it gets rejected because the visa people don't believe that you'll be going back to your country. So they think you'll visit that country and then just like disappear. And to be honest, if you're a tourist, most likely, the truth is most likely you're way financially off. So there's really less motivation for you to really want to disappear in a different country. But yeah, that logic doesn't apply in this case. So again, play dumb or whatever, just bring yourself to the lowest level and accept that's what it is. Follow the correct procedures that are given. Be careful about that. Make sure you have a director's letter with the letterhead if possible. And now we're going to move to part 3, which is the finance. Now this is also very, very, very critical, because this is what basically is going to prove that you can go to that country and you can also go back home. And when it comes to finance, the first thing you need is your pay slips. So get 6 months of pay slips. I think different countries will require different duration. Some might say 3 months, some might say 6 months, but I think the six months is the highest that I've seen. If you want, give them 12 months. Like, you're better off giving more documents than less documents. So yeah, attach 6 months of pay slips. If you are in Kenya, include Mpesa statements that show a lot of transactions. And I think this was helpful for me because as self-employed, to be honest, my bookkeeping wasn't the greatest, and I think I used Mpesa for pretty much everything. So that was very helpful. And also All actually, yeah, all these payslips should show like the bank, sorry, the company information. Like it should be a clear payslip. Don't look for like photocopies which are very, blurry or whatever. Especially, actually, this applies to all documents that I'm mentioning here. All these documents should be clear. It's something that someone can read well without any issues. Again, if you're self-employed, what I did is I attached 3 different contracts from people that I've worked with. So like if I did a job with a certain company or certain individual, I attached those contracts to prove that this is my company, this is what I do. These documents prove that I actually run a business. So that's something that I attached. Another thing on the finances, you should be able to list the people that depend on you. So probably this will come up in different sections of applying the visa, but this is something you should also have. So if let's say you're a parent, if you have kids, your chances of getting a visa actually way higher because you need to go back to your kids. So that put that into consideration. Or if you have let's say elderly people like your parents who depend on you, or you have other people that depend on you, it also proves that yes, at the end of your trip you need to go back home, and because you are not going to like abandon these people. So that also helps in your visa application. Moving on to number 4, and that is supporting documents. And the first supporting document will be the people that depend on you. Again, if you have kids, if you have like you're married, or if you have elderly people that depend on you, like let's say your parents or other people, point this out that I have these people that depend on me, therefore I'll also be able, I need to, like after I travel, I'll have to go back home to continue supporting these other people. So again, you can attach documents like your marriage certificate, or you can attach the certificates of the birth certificates of your children or your parents, or you can even also write a letter again stating these facts that yes, I am married, or I have elderly parents that depend on me. Like I keep saying, play dumb, give out any information that you might think is not necessary. Trust me, that information is very necessary. It's going to help you out with just this whole application. I think I can show you a picture of all the documents. I think I'll try and find it, but I'll show it here. All the documents that I submitted were like this thick. It was like 100 leaflets. So that is how many documents. You might think I was writing a novel or something. Like that is all the documents that I submitted for my second time visa application. My first visa application was like just 5 or 10 pages, because you assume that, oh no, they don't need this, you don't need this, so you just do it hurriedly, and yeah, it backfired. I was rejected. But yeah, the second time with all those documents, I was like, if these guys reject me, they clearly just hate me or something. But yeah, it went through, so clearly I was right on that. So yeah, again, don't assume any document, don't assume any information. Just think of it as someone that completely doesn't know you, and you're trying to woo them to trust you. So yeah, you give out any information that is necessary. Number 2, you need to write again another letter. Now this letter is going to state your reason for visit. So this is a letter which will also show like your itinerary. So I'll be traveling to this country from these dates to these dates. I will be here for this duration. I will visit these places. If possible, point out several points of interest that you've researched maybe from that country, because you are a tourist after all, and you've probably researched that, oh, I'll be visiting like this lake, or I'll be visiting this museum. Just point them out as additions to your letter to prove that you are a genuine person, and yeah, you want to visit this place, you're curious about this country, you want to explore it, you'll spend your money there as a tourist. So yeah, just add any information that you feel like will be relevant, but I think those should be okay. So your dates of visiting, where you'll be staying, or yeah, where you'll be staying and for how long you'll be staying, even if it's different places. Again, if possible, attach a completely different itinerary that shows step by step how you'll be moving around. So like day 1, I'll be doing this. Day 2 I'll be doing this. Day 3 I'll move to a different town and do this. I'll be sleeping in this place. Detailed itinerary if possible. And then finally, on the supporting documents, actually I think I should add 2 more. That will be your letter of invite. So wherever you're visiting, someone probably invited you. Again, remember, you're Kenyan, you're African, your requirements are completely different, or I think more stringent compared to people from, let's say, Europe or US or wherever. So let's say you're visiting Germany and you have friends there. If possible, ask them, request them to write you a letter that they know you. But yeah, I think I'll come to these details later when we talk about the sponsor. But again, yeah, you need to write your own letter mentioning these people that, yeah, I have this and this friend of mine who is in Germany. We've known each other for the last like 5 years, 10 years, blah, blah, blah. If it's a company, if it's a tour company that is going to be taking care of your trip, mention this company in your letter. So write a letter mentioning that I came across this tour company. They do this and these trips in whatever country, and I'm interested in visiting, and I've been able to book a trip with them to visit country XYZ. So this is a letter from you mentioning these other people. Lastly, again, if it's a tour company, they probably sent you an invoice or something like that. If you've paid, again, yeah, attach these documents. Maybe this should be on the finance, but yeah, attach these documents to prove again about your trip. So this falls in the supporting documents. Here's a supporting document that I personally added, which was a letter from a pastor. So I went to my mom, told her like, oh yeah, I'm traveling to the UK, blah, blah, blah. So I need like a letter from a pastor. So, our church pastor was able to write me a letter detailing that, yes, I'll be traveling on these dates and these dates to the UK, and I'll be going back to build my country. So yeah, exactly. That's the kind of document you need. If you know a policeman, if you know a chief, if you know, I don't know, maybe you know the president, go and ask him to write you a letter so that it shows a person of authority who can vouch for you. So again, it's a document which is actually very helpful. So I'd recommend you to get such a document if possible. Now, moving on to the sponsor. Now, the sponsor is the person who is on the other side of the world, the other country. Again, for example, the one I mentioned about Germany, let's say you have friends there. These people can help you get the visa. Basically, they'll vouch for you. Now, let me point here something. If you go to that country and you decide to disappear, basically you've technically financially ruined these people's lives. Because for the case of UK, I think if you visit and then you disappear, that person is liable to pay almost like £20,000. So that's like a lot of money. In shillings, that's like 4 million shillings. So you can imagine that's a lot of money. Again, different countries will have different penalties, and if you get arrested, you'll be deported, and if you get deported, you're basically never going to travel to like the entirety of like Europe, US, Canada, because these countries share information, so they'll spread your information to all the other guys. So if you get deported, chances of you going through another border will be very problematic. So it's not worth the risk. Don't do it. On the sponsor, so these people will write a letter detailing how they know you. So this can be a very detailed letter. They'll say, oh, we've known so and so for this amount of years. Maybe we visited Kenya before and we met him, and he or she showed us around. Again, it's just details. Now they are the ones writing on your behalf, so they are stating how they know you. Other things they can also add is like, if you'll be visiting, if when you visit, they'll host you maybe for a duration of your period. They will show you around. So they also need to write a letter, like think of it like you're explaining it to a child, like all the details that are necessary, you need to put them down. Then another detail that is from the sponsor that you will need is their birth certificate to prove they are born in that country where they are from, and also their passport. So because they can't give you their national ID because it doesn't make any sense. So their passport is what is required. And then their pay slips, especially if they are the ones who are sponsoring your trip financially, which will show out that they can afford financing your trip to the country that you're visiting. Now in this case, it proves they are who they are, and it also proves they know you and that you're also who you are. So those, I think, are the most important documents that you need when it comes to applying for a visa. And again, this information works across all countries. So it's not just like if you're a Kenyan, it's not just about applying, let's say, to, like, I don't know, Germany, UK. It will apply to pretty much all countries, because the visa application for most parts is surely the same. It's the same documents that you need to prove. You can only be one you. So yeah, the documents is not like they vary too much. But yeah, don't be afraid to share, like, even if it's 20 bank statements to prove that, yeah, you can have all this money, or you have all these transactions of money that come in and out of your account. Share all that. If it's 20 pages of financial documents, if it's another 30 pages of work documents to show your contracts and whatnot. So like I keep saying, it's about you proving you're who you are. It's about proving all the documents are genuine. So that is all the documents that you need to apply for a visa. So I'm going to talk to you about other things that you will need, they're just going to make your life easier when you get the visa and you get to travel. And the first one is a debit card, which can work internationally. So on my first trip to the UK, I had my Kenyan bank cards. None of them worked, even though they kept saying that it should work, but none of them worked. And I use, should I call them? Yeah, whatever. I use Equity, I use DTB Bank, and yeah, actually those two. But yeah, so none of the cards worked. So what I was being told is, yeah, it's recommended for you to call them in advance so that they can, like, activate your card before you travel. But I'm like, that's a lot of, I don't know. I just feel like it's unnecessary. So the second time that I traveled, what I did is I got a prepaid card, and I got one from NCBA. That card, I don't know if I can get the name. I think it's called Safari Card, NCBA Safari Card, something like that. And the good thing about it is you can top it up with Mpesa, you can top it up from a different bank, and it's very convenient. Plus also, it's a good card because you'll just put the money that you're planning on spending, so you don't like put all your bank money into one account in case of anything happens, like you can get hacked or scammed or whatever. So yeah, get a prepaid card. This is helpful. So yeah, I can recommend the NCBA card. I think DTB also has a prepaid card. I've forgotten the name, because there's a time they partnered with Nation Bank and they had something called Nation Hela, but then they stopped that. Now they have, I think, something else. But yeah, that prepaid card can work anywhere. So personally, I got the NCBA card and I was able to use it without any issues at all, including the contactless payments, accessing the app from wherever. So that is a good thing to get. Another document that you'll need, especially if you're planning on driving in the foreign country that you're going to, that will be the driving license from AA. So if you are from Kenya, you can get two licenses. You can either get the 1-year license, or I think the 3-year license. Currently, I'm using my 1-year license to drive in the UK. It's fine. It costs, like, I think 7,000, 8,000 shillings thereabouts, and the 3-year one I think costs like 15,000 shillings. This document paired with your Kenyan driving license means you can drive in any country in the entire world. It's globally recognized. So that is what you need when it comes to driving. But this is not something you really need to submit for your visa application. Actually, you don't need to. If you want, you can, but you really don't need to. But this is just a document that will be helpful to help you drive, especially if you can like rent a car and do some tours. And yeah, I don't think there's anything I've left out. If there is, maybe I will write in the description below. But yeah, that's it. I've been talking for 30 minutes, so that should show that yes, I think I've covered all the bases on this. So see you on the next video when we talk about how to prepare yourself for a job in a foreign country. Until then, see you.